the patron of this society, CCDSI, I invite Dr. A.N. Rai to present his topic, interesting clinical cases.
And thank you, Dr.
Yes,
Chaudhary.
sir, start it.
Thank you, thank you. Chairperson Dr. Chaudhary, Dr. D.P. Singh, Dr. Madhu, I think they are not there. I have got many interesting cases, but I think I will start with the short cases first. Short cases just to warm up. Spot diagnosis and short cases. Just a minute. This is spot diagnosis. I think the first case is spot diagnosis is very short case. Young adult presenting with breathlessness on his person, and this is the ECG. The young adult about 18 to 20 years, he is presenting with the breathlessness, and this is the ECG. I would like to know from the audience what is the most likely diagnosis.
HOCM, sir. Apical HCM.
Yes, Mrityunjay. Thank you for your this. This is actually, you can see it, TU inversion in the lateral lead, B4, V5, V6, and inferior leads. And young adult, it is hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and that is apical because it is infralateral leads are involved. And this was confirmed by this echo. You can see that this patient had apical cardiomyopathy. Now, second case, middle-aged man presenting with a severe chest pain since 3 hours. Now, you have to give diagnosis, culprit vessel and management. This is given below.
Acute inferior infarction.
So it is inferolateral wall.
Mrityunjay, you should be the last. You should be the last. If anybody not answer, I think you should be the last.
Acute inferolateral infarction.
Yes, it is infralateral. Anything else? You are right. There is change in inferior leads and lateral leads. Anything else?
ABF showing STE.
See the V1. I'm giving the hint. See the V1. Can you diagnose with the V1 any infarction?
First degree AV block. No.
Posterior infarction.
Posterior.
It's a classical posterior infarction. Tall R wave ST depression. It is reciprocal to Q wave and ST elevation. So this ECG shows inferior, lateral, and posterior infarction.
Posterior infarction.
And the culprit artery is circumflex artery. So this is circumflex artery. And management within 3 hours, thrombolysis, and then go for angiography, angioplasty. Thrombolysis was the management. Middle-aged man presenting with a severe chest pain since 4 hours. What is the diagnosis? Culprit vessel and management. ECG given below. This is the ECG. Since it's a cardiodiabetic society, I think the cases will be more on the cardiac side.
Acute anterior infarction with bifascicular block.
Yes, you are right. BCG shows acute anterior infarction and RBB with left anterior block. But is there any arrhythmia?
Idioventricular rhythm? No.
No. Idioventricular rhythm is not so fast. Idioventricular. once the patient has RBB with left ventricular block and arrhythmia, the white complex, Purex complex tachycardia, VT is not there because classically we do not get classical RBB pattern and left ventricle. So VT is not there. Second is left posterior fascicular, which classically present left posterior fascicular. But the third is supraventricular arrhythmia with pre-existing RBBB and left ventricular block. So what is the most likely? It is not a VT. Either is a right, this posterior fascicular VT, or it is a supraventricular arrhythmia, which I will tell you which arrhythmia, and pre-existing RBB and left ventricular block plus anteroseptal infarction. Dr. Ketan. Dr. Ketan?
I think he's not there, sir.
Oh, he's not there. I think this is a this.
It is
How will you
SBT
confirm?
with pre-existing. It is SBT with pre-existing right bundle block.
Yes. So how to differentiate? Either you had ECG, ECG
Baseline
before the
ECG.
arrhythmia, or ECG after the arrhythmia and we treated. And this patient, as Dr. Mithunjay said, this is a case of supraventricular arrhythmia, which is most likely, you can see atrial flutter is 2 to 1 block. There is a 2 P wave. One is here, just at the descending end of T wave, and one is before the ascending. There are 2 P wave. So it is atrial flutter is 2 to 1 block plus anteroseptal infarction, and just see the next ECG after the DC start. You can see the RBB is there and left ventricular block is there. Plus anteroseptal infarction is there. You can see it. So this patient will further thrombolized after DC start, and the latter this is the ECG, last ECG.
Sir, the anteroseptal has become more anterior now. It has extended to V4, V5.
Oh, yes. But this patient has, and the culprit artery is anterior descending artery before the septal branch. Whenever you have RBBV, it is before the septal branch. So it is a proximal anterior descending before the septal branch. It has got very bad prognosis. You can see there is also from V1 to V5, you are seeing the changes. But RBB and left ventricular block is still present.
Sir, why not it is a left main?
Left main usually present with the ST depression. See the AVR. For left main, AVR is very important. Usually get ST elevation. So that is not there.
No ST elevation in AVR.
ST elevation AVR you get.
So ultimately it is a proximal LAD block.
Sorry. This is the case, another case, medial lady presenting with a severe chest pain and feature of shock. Severe chest pain and feature of shock. Diagnosis and culprit vessel. These are all short cases.
Acute inferior infarction.
Yes. So if the patient has inferior infarction and feature of shock, what else is likely to have? The patient have inferior infarction with feature of shock. What we must do and what most likely patient is likely to have?
Right ventricular infarction.
Yes, you are right, Mithunjay. Right ventricular infarction. And we must have a right ventricular lead. Just you can see the right ventricular lead. It shows there is a ST elevation in V4, V5. So this patient has inferior infarction plus right ventricular infarction and shock. And that's why these patients, and even if they go into heart failure, don't give diuretic, give IV fluid, inotropics. Last case. Elderly male presenting with fits since 1 day. Diagnosis management. Elderly patient presenting with fits since 1 day. What is diagnosis management? This is the ECG. What is the diagnosis?
RBBLS तो है ही.
हाँ, तो RBBLS else क्या इसको बोलेंगे? What else? ये क्लासिकल RBBLS है कि कुछ और बोलते हैं इसको? See the lead one. Lead one में SWAVE है.
Masquerading bundle branch block.
हाँ?
Masquerading bundle block.
Yes, it is a masquerading bundle branch block.
बस
Which
क्या?
shows, I will just tell you, there are two types. Standard with standard masquerading, where the RBBLH is in the precardial leads, there is a RBB pattern, and limb leads, there is a LBB pattern. So see the lead one. This is a standard, and why it is important? These patients have got high degree block, and they go into anytime complete heart block. So that's why this patient required fainting attack. This patient required pacing, and we did pacing. Now, just coming to the diagnosis, standard masquerading bundle branch block. There are two types of masquerading. Standard, where RB pattern in precardial leads, LB pattern in limb leads, small or absent SWAVE in lead one. You can see there is no SWAVE in lead one. You can see. And then precardial, second is precardial. Where RB pattern in lead one 53 and absent was V5, V6. V5, V6, there is LBB pattern. So LBB pattern in V5. Management is patient requires urgent cardiac pacing. So these are the short cases. Now we are going to the long cases. Good afternoon, Dr. D.P. Chingam, our chairperson. D.P. Singh.
Yes, sir. Sir. Good afternoon.
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Now we are going to long cases.
The slide is not moving, sir.
Not moving. It's not moving.
Good afternoon, R.R. Chaudhary, sir. Pranam.
And now it's okay, sir.
Is it moving?
Yes,
Yes,
okay, sir.
I will start with the case 9 because case 1 से time लगे. Case 9 है. ECG a middle-aged man presenting as severe chest pains in 3 hours. Diagnosis and management.
J point is raised here.
And tall T wave. So there is a tall T wave.
Winter sign
4 hours T.
Early anterior infarction.
We are also call it hyperacute myocardial infarction
winter
with tall T wave.
The winter.
Hyperacute myocardial infarction. How to manage? Should we thrombolize or should we leave it?
Thrombolize.
Thrombolize.
Yes.
और primary PTC है.
Yes, so time is 4 hours.
available there.
It has 4 hours, so the patient will not fit for primary PTC. 2 hours, time has passed, 120 minutes. So actually we should thrombolize because this is a myocardial infarction equivalent. It is also known as the winter phenomenon. This ECG pattern, we call it the winter pattern. And this patient was thrombolize. The winter ECG pattern is an anterior STEMI equivalent that present without obvious ST7 elevation, first reported by De Winter in 2008. So this is a De Winter ECG pattern. Key diagnostic feature of De Winter pattern include ST depression and peak T wave in the precardial leads. De Winter pattern is seen in 2% of acute LAD occlusion. So this is, this is one of the indication we must thrombolyze, and this patient we thrombolyze, and under the thrombolysis, you can see this post thrombolysis ECG. What it says, so
Settle करेंगे.
It is a
QS pattern.
LAD.
QS and we want to
LAD
V4.
reason.
it shows acute anterior infarction.
ये वाले MI
T wave,
proximal LAD lesion.
acute anterior STEMI. So it is a classical now acute variant STEMI, but in the winter pattern, we do not have classical feature. We get a tall peak T wave and ST depression. What is the cause of tall T wave? Normally we get tall T wave in hyperkalemia. It is said that following acute myocardial infarction, there is a local leakage of potassium and there is a localized hyperkalemia. One other theory is there. So this patient was thrombolyzed post thrombolysis ECG. Now this is again a middle man, major chain smoker, male presented with a severe chest pain, 6-8 hours. TRAPI negative. ECG is given below. What is diagnosis?
Stage.
Eta was top normal.
Biphasic T wave.
Biphasic T wave in anterior, so it is anterior ischemia. It is not a
Valence,
infarction.
is it Valence?
And diagnosis Valence syndrome. Already mentioned.
It is Valence.
syndrome. Valence syndrome. It is type 1 Valence syndrome. And there is another case. Another case. Middle man with severe chest pain, 6-8 hours. TRAPI normal. This is biphasic. This is also Valence syndrome.
This is classical valence, sir.
There are two types. So Valence syndrome is of two types. Valence syndrome is an electrocardiographic manifestation of critical plaque on left anterior descending coronary artery stenosis in patient unstable angina. Enzymes are negative. And this is Valence syndrome of two types. Type 1, which are biphasic, and type 2, bilateral symmetrical. So we have got both. It is type 2 and this is type 1. So Valence syndrome. So today we had Deventer pattern, Deventer syndrome, and second is Valence syndrome. So now I am going to important certain general cases. Before going to this, I will go to this case. Young boy with a history of recurrent palpitation. This is the ECG. Young boy with history of recurrent palpitation. What is ECG shows? Again, it is RBBB with left atrial arrhythmia with RBBB, white QRS complex, but the typical RBB, so it's not the VT, white QRS complex, RBB with left atrial block. Is it a posterior fascicular or is it a supraventricular piston block?
It is posterior fascicular.
Yes, it is a classical posterior fascicular, which is uncommon. And you can see the post after DCC, DCSAC, ECG is absolutely normal, it is not showing blood. But post DCSAC, the ECG shows T inversion infralateral leads. So what is the underlying cause? I've already shown one ECG of apical cardiomyopathy. Is it apical cardiomyopathy?
Maybe.
No.
Yes, Our
Where do
diagnosis was apical cardiomyopathy. Because
because in whole-
I've already shown that in T wave inversion, it is not so prominent T wave, mild T wave, but the apical cardiomyopathy are too prominent. I will show the ECG if you want, but our diagnosis was that this young boy is also having apical cardiomyopathy, presenting with the arrhythmia, posterior vascular VT. The importance of posterior vascular VT is that it responds to just like this verapamil, not also the amiodarone, but not the lunocaine other thing. So it should be treated like supraventricular tachycardia, not as a ventricular tachycardia. So we did give it, this is and this is the ECG, but same ECG. Now, our diagnosis is apical cardiomyopathy, but echo was normal. So what is the final diagnosis? Echo was absolutely normal. This young boy presented with the recurrent palpitation, which is a posterior vascular VT, echo is normal. If time is up, please let me know, because I've got several cases. This is a 3:25, so 4 minutes more. I
Sir,
can
you
present
have
one more
4
case.
minutes, sir.
So one more case I'll present. If this is a physiological, and this patient is normal, has got normal heart, and this post-tachycardia T wave inversion may occur in some with normal and anheartic. It is called cardiac memory. So it is due to cardiac memory post-tachycardia. Due to cardiac memory post-tachycardia, we get T wave inversion, and that's why the echo is very important to differentiate. Since echo was normal, this patient had normal heart, and the T wave inversion is due to cardiac memory. And this is a
Does he need an
reference.
EPS? Does he need an
This is a
electrophysiological study?
electrocardiac syndrome consisting of transient inversion of T wave with paroxysm of tachycardia in normal heart has been required for some time. The resemblance of these changes to those serious organ heart disease makes obvious the importance of their recognition and understanding. So this was there. So this is due to cardiac memory. In some cases, we do get T wave inversion in underlying heart. One more case. And
What is the
this
treatment,
patient,
sir?
Sir. What is the last?
Treatment,
treatment is this patient. I told you, we after this is put the patient on verapamil. Verapamil 2 times.
After 1 week.
For how long, sir?
40 minutes, 1 minute. And this is the ECG after 1 week. You can see absolutely normal. It has returned to normal. In apical cardiomyopathy, it will never return to normal. So it's very rare. You can see posterior vascular VT is very rare. Cardiac memory, we have seen first case in our life, and we searched the literature. What is the diagnosis? Because echo is normal. We did the echo normal. T wave inversion is there. Patient is young, having this posterior vascular VT. So eventually, it is a normal. Now, this is the last case. And this is not a non-cardiac case, but still, I am presenting because it was diagnosed because of the ECG. But a 45 years female presenting to the emergency department with recurrent seizure since 1 day. She was diagnosed with epilepsy since 6 years back and was on sodium valproate 300 mg. No proper workup of seizure was done. This only just on pulse was 70 per minute, BP 150 by 90, respiration 18 per minute. So there are no other abnormality. This is the ECG. What this ECG shows. We diagnose this patient on this ECG. I would like the diagnosis on this ECG.
Broad T wave. Broad T wave. QT interval is prolonged.
Very good. It is a prolonged QT. This is very important. This patient has prolonged QT. And patient with prolonged QT can present with fits due to VT or cardiac, the prolonged QT. And this is the, so prolonged QT. What are the causes? I will tell you the causes, important, but we did the CT scan because this patient has platelet. You can see the CT scan. Bilateral basal ganglion multiple calcification, but there is a bilateral basal ganglion calcification. Is there any condition which produces characteristic bilateral basal ganglion calcification?
Hypercalcemia. Yeah.
Huh?
Hypocalcemia.
Yes.
Hypercalcemia.
Hypocalcemia. Hypocalcemia is there, but which condition? Hypocalcemia is normal illness. Yeah, Mrityunjay, you are right.
Hyperparathyroidism.
Primary hypoparathyroidism. So salient feature, what was the salient feature? Recurrent seizures, QT prolongation, ECG, bilateral basal ganglion calcification, hypocalcemic seizures. Blood sugar with 3 was normal. Investigation, calcium was low, you can see. Albumin was normal and phosphate was high. We did the magnesium. It was very important because hypermagnesemia can also cause. So it was normal. And this is the parathyroid hormone. It is low. You can see it is less than 3. Normally it's 10 to 69. Are you not going to hypocalcemia? In our case, it was diagnosed as primary hyper. So the conditions which give rise prolonged QT, that is idiopathic QT, prolonged QT syndrome, is the one the most common occurs in children. Hypocalcemia, hypokalemia, and hypomagnesemia. So here calcium was low, magnesium, potassium was normal, and parathyroid hormone was low. So basically, this patient was diagnosed as, the time is there, 3:31, so I am not going into detail. Final time is that this is a case of primary hypoparathyroidism presenting with recurrent seizures, being treated by epilepsy, a seizure disorders. This patient was treated for giving calcium and vitamin D, and she is no more on anti-epileptic drugs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is Dr. DP Singh is there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir. And this
Good
is,
afternoon. Will you like to say something?
Sir, whenever our guru is here, Dr. A.N. Rai, sir, it is always excellent par excellence. And this is the first session as organized by our the Dr. A.N. Rai and Dr. Birmani. Sir is always a very dynamic man. It's a very nice program. And in this first program, we have learned, and usually we learned from Professor A.N. Rai about the new ECG, especially the last case, hypoparathyroidism, bilateral basal ganglia calcification, ECG showing that QT interval prolongation, and beautiful. And others too, that ECG changes in MI and others, beautiful. And there are many syndromes, Wallen syndromes and others. That was very nice, and we learned. Yes, sir. Dr. R.R. Chaudhary, sir.
Thank you, sir. Dr. N. Rai.
Thank you.
Excellent presentation, sir. Now we
Thank you.
close this session, sir, and now invite another speaker.